A year ago.
A year? Was it a year?
A year.
Wow. It's crazy what happened in a year. And they've just sort of stayed connected ever since. I think she just very recently moved from New York, and we started talking about that. And so I'm really grateful for Susan to be here. She has 15 years experience working with digital arts and installation pieces, displaying works in Las Vegas, Boston, LA, Paris, and New York. She's a teacher and taught at Parsons School of Design in New York and the Continuing Education Department at Furman University, dealing with digital and new media art. She's also played a large part in starting the local group I Teach You Pi that teaches kids technology skills and integrates them back into the physical world. Susan has most recently shown her new digital works and interactive installations at the Travelers Rest Arts Association fundraising gala and the Pivot Film Exhibition during Artist Year. She has a BFA from Tufts University and School of the Museum of Fine Arts, dual program and diploma in Fine Arts from SMFA. And she also has partially completed her MA in Media Studies at the New School, but she came back here due to an illness and hopes to complete it one day. And she currently works on projects under the name Sumo Design, ranging from conceptual art to prototyping for manufacturing. And she has deep roots in this region, tracing back at least 4 generations. So she's excited to be here now and looking toward what's happening next. So this is Susan Molnar, and I will let her take it away.
For a while, so if I'm a little nervous or weird or something, just bear with me. And this is where our presentation is going to end up. Maybe some of you guys have seen this. This is a wonderful, this woman went and hired a bunch of people on a site called Fiverr and just said, make me look pretty. And so she hired people from all around the world, and these are different Photoshop interpretations of her made pretty. So, and we're going to get through some stuff. I'm going to start on the back and talking about how this connected world that we have now is just a lot different than what it used to be. It looks like this got a little weird. Let's see. Okay. There we go. All right. Back. So art and technology starts with the conversation. So it's impossible to say everything I totally want to say in 20 minutes. This is pretty much what I think about all the time. And also, again, from the visual arts perspective, it's so easy to go on tangents here and there, and there will be a few tangents here and there. But next slide. The artist is the person who invents the means to bridge biological inheritance to the environments created by technological innovation. Marshall McLuhan. If you haven't ever heard Marshall McLuhan, I highly recommend you checking him out. He's basically the father of media studies, and media studies is kind of morphed into this thing of like, where is technology and art and ourselves and all of that good stuff. But I think this pretty much perfectly puts together, like when I met Prentice over a year ago, we were talking about like how art we create now, so many times we get stuck in these models that are based basically in like the 15th or 16th century, but how come we aren't using like the actual tools that are created with us now? So next slide. We all start though, like if you think, what is the first tool that we had? Fire. We had fire, set stuff on fire, and then we put it on a wall. And so that's where we start, is that fire, that immediate, here we are, this is our time, this is our presence, connecting from here to here with that fire. So this is a Paleolithic drawing from 28,000 BCE, just kind of crazy. So then what do we do next? We learn how to put down the alphabet. So this is one of the very first times that we translate into a new technology. The alphabet becomes this way that we're able to inscribe ourselves into a form that travels just beyond ourselves, beyond our communities. So the ancient Sumerians put this together so that they were able to actually translate stories, record debts, and they exist even today. And then the next big innovation, which everyone's like, oh my goodness, it changed the world, movable type in 1450, Gutenberg press, literacy. People were able to record all the recorded stuff. It wasn't any longer in giant cathedrals or clay tablets. It was actually in books. And even though books for years and years and years were still this type of technology that was still revered, it was starting to become something that was broader and able to disseminate ideas and information. And this technology really changed the world. And so it changed the world on how people were able to interact with different countries and different cultures. And then from here, so it just changed our sense of time, our sense of place, and our sense of connectedness. Instead of being connected to my tribe any longer, I'm still connected to my tribe, but I can learn about a different tribe from here. My sense of time, I'm now able to be connected to the ancient Athenians, the ancient Romans, and then there was also different stories traveling from other parts of the world at that point in time. And our sense of place in that starts to expand. So then from here, people start messing around with things like lenses, and they're like, okay, science, technology, art, what are these things? We always, often in our contemporary world, we think, well, it's starting to come back a little bit, which we'll get to, but for a while, it was like, science is over here, art's over here, but they've actually always had this kind of melding here. So this is a camera obscura, and this is a picture from 1558, where somebody's actually using the natural magic, where they're using a camera obscura, which if you guys have ever seen these or made a pinhole camera, you make a little pinhole here, and it projects the image, and then you make the marks to record that image, which from here, people speculate, especially if you guys have ever heard of David Hockney. He did which has been refuted by some people, but they say that he used camera obscura, and you can see how there's reflections in the reflections, and this type of photographic realism that just really hadn't existed in the world before. So again, just technology is being spread. It was founded in one part of Europe and then migrated through another part of Europe through things that were evolving. So what do we do with technology? We like to make it smaller, we like to make it faster, we like to make it portable. So we have the camera lucidia, which was a drawing implement that was very popular in the 1800s, where it took the camera obscura, instead of doing big, large rooms, into something that you can just take along with yourself. And from here, we get photography. Finally, somebody was like, hey, how do I fix what I'm seeing here onto a piece of paper? And so in 1828, we have Daguerre, and then I can never say his name right, Dupius, and their other friend, Chevalier, who supplied their lenses. So the technologies of lenses have come around so that you can actually make things into a smaller projection with a lot of accuracy. And then you've got a chemist, and then you've got a camera design guy. And this makes the daguerreotype. The daguerreotype, I don't know if you guys have ever seen them. They're really cool, but they are a one-off process. They are shiny. They're made from mercury. People still make them. I was in Charlotte a couple of months ago, and there was a lady who's still making daguerreotypes of contemporary subjects. But they are the first one to be introduced to the public. And it became the first one that was widely known and widely spread and used that in tintypes for about 20 years. But these are all the other guys. So the other thing, this is from Jeffrey Batchen's Burning with Desire, the Conception of Photography, which if you want a really fascinating read, especially on how the world works. Because I think sometimes we kind of get stuck in, well, that stuff just happened. There was some brilliant person who made something amazing just happen. But the fact is that all of these guys right here were also using and messing around with and doing different kinds of experiments and trying to make this happen. Daguerre was just the first one to finally get publicized and put out there. and actually to our next slide, this is one of his best friends, who he kind of, this is the first hoax photography. This is his friend, Hippolyte Bayard, who was working on a similar thing to try to capture that photographic moment. But Daguerre was like, oh, no, you don't really want to show that to anybody. No, it's fine. And then Daguerre actually got the grant money from the French government to make it go everywhere. So, whenever, and I just say that because, I feel like a lot of us as artists, we try to get our work out there and we get rejected, or we don't get it in the place we want, or we're like, oh, that money got away, or this is there. It's been going on forever. And we just need to keep doing it, and it's just one of those things too. If it's not going to be, like, if you have an idea and you're working on it, other people probably are too, and don't get too upset if somebody's like, oh my God, that was my idea. Like, it's all awesome. Let's just keep pushing it forward. That's at least where I'm at. So, and then this is the chart, which is very, very hard to read. But we've got daguerreotypes here, and then so this is the early part of photography, and then this is really where we start seeing what actually we see most of. We would probably recognize as contemporary photography with negative, well, before digital, with negatives and prints. So this is Henry Fox Talbot and one of his salt prints, which again, more technology, more innovation going on there. And guess what? The same exact year that Daguerre came out was pretty much the same time that artist tubes started coming around. So that's when the invention of the artist tube, instead of having to sit there and grind your paint. I don't know if anybody's ever made their own temper paint. I used to love making my own temper paint before I got sick. You like get pigments and grind it. Well, instead of having to do that all in your studio and be stuck there, or maybe the small parts you can take away, you've got the invention of artist tubes, and which totally coincides with Impressionism and all of the lives of the Impressionists. So you now have this revolution where these painters are no longer obligated to record history. You're no longer only employed to be the people who take account of our existence and make a pretty picture of that building over here so that somebody 100 years will go know. Now because of the technology of paint tubes, which allow them to go outside, and the technology of photography that has freed them from that obligation, you see there's a whole different realm going on. Which, Monet is probably the most known of the Impressionists. And yep, Monet Out in the Woods by John Singer Sargent. So fast forward a couple years to now we've got and like I said, I've only got limited time. It kind of, so we're fast forwarding past a lot of the surrealists, and again, the Industrial Revolution, and what is this doing to our collective psyche as the world, to Marcel Duchamp and the ready-mades. So the story of the ready-mades goes, Marcel Duchamp was already a pretty well-established artist at that time, but he was pretty, and forgive me if I'm calling him wrong, but he was pretty, I don't know, getting a little disgusted about how everything was going with the Academy, what was art and what is not art, and there's this whole, so he put a urinal into this really, really exciting art contest in Paris, and everybody was like, oh my goodness, what's that even doing here, and he signed it Art Mutt, and then so all these people are like, ugh. And then he finally comes up and he's like, well, it's mine, I'm Marcel Duchamp, it's mine, it's cool. He's taking an industrial object and putting it in a place where it's seen as art, and then reacting with the people to make it art. And so that was really what a lot of people say is so where we take off into contemporary art. So after that, you have a whole nother series of ready-mades. where he's taking, again, objects that we have in our lives, that we're used to seeing in our lives, like the bicycle and the stool, and recombining them in different ways, and trying to get people to think about it and interact with it, and using ourselves to deal with, okay, so when you're in this industrial world where I can go and buy these things, what does this really mean to us in our society? So fast forward to the information age and beyond. Now we've got the internet. Now we've got these things where we're participating on an individual level. We're globally integrated. We can be multiple places at once. We're on our phones. We're texting people. We're emailing people. It's, our digital persona still exists on Facebook even after we're gone sometimes. I have a few friends who have left our earth, and it's kind of weird when their Facebook is still up there doing weird things. I don't know if you guys have seen that before. And we're less linear. We have more of a chance to go from here and then jump to here and jump to here. So that's just part of how our technology is here. This is a graph from Jerome Glenn, who is he's a current futurist at the Millennium Project, which is a trans-institutional thing, sort of funded by the UN and some countries and whatnot, but that basically it's like 50 people who just, it's a think tank where they just sit and think about the future all the time. They're like, what will the future be? And so this was, I took this from his talk that he did at MOOC Fest. If any of you guys were able to catch it, it was pretty awesome. So we started off at the beginning with the agriculture, things are, what we have is the power is religion. What's the capital is your land. Where are we doing? What is our time cycle? It goes, we go, we reap, we sow, we reap, we sow. Industrial revolution, okay, we make something, we take it back, we progress that way. Information age, what is our power of corporation access? What is our perception? And how is our time? Our time's more flexible now. Some of us stay up late, some of us don't. And then we're somewhere in between here. And part of our things now as an artist is how do we integrate into these narratives that have been established. And I think it's really fascinating, somebody took an existing narrative and linked themselves into it, and our perception of time has changed, and we are able to globally broadcast this. This is on the internet for just about anybody to see. If you're connected to the internet, if you're one of those 32% of the population on Earth, and you have access to that node, then you can see this, and you see that whoever this was, an anonymous person who has put themselves into that existing narrative. And you have people like this, the Hacktivists Anonymous, who are using the Guy Fawkes mask, which Guy Fawkes was actually not really a cool dude. He kind of wanted to establish a theocracy and make us all, subjugated to the theocracy. So, but we've taken that narrative, or these people have taken that narrative, and taking those symbols and reintegrated and retransformed it, and are continuing to play out that aspect as we live together in this global world. And that's that's the contemporary tools and technology that we have. So another interesting thing is where do these virtual worlds come in? Second Life. I don't know if you guys have heard about Second Life, or if maybe some of you guys participate in Second Life. I think Second Life itself, I've gone on there and I have no idea what to do, and it's not really my thing. But some people have make money off of this. The most important, interesting thing to me about Second Life is it's just a platform created for people to go in and build whatever they want in that virtual world. So every single thing in here is user generated. So this car, somebody probably spent a month and a half of their life making that car out of voxels, which is the 3D data made for pixels, and actually can sell that to other people in a virtual space. So again, contemporary tools it just changing our sense of place and space and communities. And like Aiko was saying earlier, you know, sometimes you get connected to these people who you've never met through these virtual spaces because of the mind connection. So this is again from Jerome Glenn's things, and he said, this is a really fun game to play sometime. Just take what are these emerging technologies that you can take from your brain, and these things have never been in our contemporary world, well, they've never been in the world before. So what are some ways that our brains and our physical spaces can interact with some of these things? So the Internet of Things, the synthetic biology, 3D printing, quantum technology, augmented reality, nanotechnology, all of these crazy sci-fi things that actually do exist now. Some of them in their infancy, some of them a little bit more than their infancy. But it's going to be a weird world in 50 years. So I mean, think back 50 years. It was a weird world then too. So this is one of those people. If you did the little thing, this woman, Heather Dewey Hayborg, she showed this last year. This is a piece. She actually did, I think, 12 of these, where she went and she found hair and gum on the street, and then she DNA sequenced what she found from the hair and gum on the street, and created models of the faces, and 3D printed them, and then displayed them as trophies with the things that she found. So it's a little bit far from Monet, but it's the artist going, hey, look, we've got this stuff going on. Maybe we should think about what we're doing with it a little bit. Like So this is another one, actually. Well, let me talk a little bit about it first. Does anybody here at MoFest? Asheville, nobody? Oh,
just you.
Oh, it was so good. I almost didn't go. I was like, whatever, it's going to be whatever. And then it was like, blew my mind. It was so good. But one of the things, and I wish I had their names on here, there was like 4 to 5 different artists. And I was actually familiar with this piece of technology before because, like Princess mentioned, I helped run a kids program where we find all this crazy new technology. And we're like, what can we do with it? And how can we mess with kids with it? This thing is called a NeuroSky monitor. And it's actually $100 at $80 if you're a teacher. And you put it on your head, and it measures brainwaves. I have a friend who actually has a PhD in measuring brainwaves, and he was like, it doesn't really measure your brainwaves. But it measures it enough of the muscular things going on in your scalp and your brain to translate into brainwaves. So if you think really hard when you're meditating, it has like one thing on the spectrum. If you like get really upset, it goes to the other end of the spectrum. So what these guys did is they had an animator go and map out the entire city of Asheville and put it into a 3D landscape that would change while you put on this NeuroSky thing with an iPhone that they had set up, and it would change, and your brain would compose music as you walk around Asheville looking like this. But then they had and you might think this is weird, but they actually had a guy who implanted an antenna in his head, which doesn't remove, that does this like constantly. So, you're like, well, at least I can take mine off, Neil's got his forever. But if we click on the link here, hopefully it'll, yeah, just say allow. Yeah. And then drag it up and press it. See, I don't know, you can still download this thing. It's called the Conductor app. It's on the iPhone store. I haven't actually put it on my phone yet, so I don't know if it's still going after. I wish they had better documentation of this amazing on-site installation that's completely immersive media craziness.
I don't know, we may have to be really quiet.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh no. It's just quiet over here.
Virtual sheet music. New compositions are being written through a MoFest mobile app. That's how it works. Festival goers download the
Here we go.
app on their cell phones, then they connect it to the MoFest brainwave sensor. People drift from one venue to the next, writing new music with the electrical activity in their own brains.
We created a sort of like an augmented experience of Asheville, where this full-scale model, a 3D model of Asheville, is something that you're walking through and seeing and reacting to the music that you're composing as your brain.
The free app can be found in the iPhone App Store. You can then get the brainwave sensor from the folks over at ModeFest.
And so the animations are actually reacting to your brainwaves as well. So you're making music and you're recording it, and I think on the app you can listen to it later. I'm not sure about that. Like I said, I wish there was better documentation of this, but this is the best I can find. And then this is the little thing that I had up at the beginning. And this is pretty much the end of my talk. I've got like one like, yay, let's go for some cool slide after this. But this is like our sense of time, our sense of space. We have this, we can pay somebody $5 in Indonesia now to make me pretty. So we have this like, our tools and what we have available to us now, and like the fact that we can shape our perceptions and whatnot. It's a different world. And so that's my introduction to this conversation about technology and art. And I'll just leave this on this quote. Doc Edgerton, if you ever go to MIT and go to the MIT Museum, which is a fabulous place, you'll see a lot of his work. This man invented the strobe, which actually stops time in photographs. Work hard. Don't go into neighborhoods. Yeah. Work hard. Tell everyone everything you know and have fun. And that's my